When Worlds Collide is an interesting little genre item. Released in 1951, it is one of the very earliest American science fiction films of that decade, and one which looks to have been taken very seriously as a production. A Paramount picture, overseen by George Powell, apparently sought to simulate the authentic, terrifying spectacle of a rogue celestial object colliding with the Earth, and the frantic attempts to evacuate the planet. The scripture bookends have me reminded of the numerous biblical epics released during Hollywood throughout the 1950s. In fact, Cecil B. DeMille was attached to direct this at one time. Unfortunately, no one ever tried to adapt the Book of Revelation. Might have been too costly, controversial, or both. But adapting a science fiction novel which depicts a plausible Armageddon and humanity's attempts to survive? That seemed wholly viable. This plot holds no major surprises. It runs along more or less for lines you would expect. Not that I'm criticizing this, I just wanted to justify not including a retelling of the complete plot synopsis here. There's a lot of drama and delays, but it's far more interesting to look at this film's vision than to listen to its narrative, honestly. But yes, Rudolph Matt effectively directs a vivid illustration of apocalyptic urgency, manifesting in models, miniatures, and matte paintings, some particular sets and a cast and screenplay which attempts to explore what might actually happen if these circumstances so fell upon us. Initially, and I love this component, When Worlds Collide depicts an, again initially, picturesque idealized post-war paradise. You could believe that this film takes place in a utopic future which occurs in an alternate 1965, if you'd like. The glowing technicolour makes one think of those saccharine, colourful melodramas of that era, and sometimes its screenplay does too. And it gives the impression of an unrealistically ideal television commercial universe where nothing has ever gone wrong until the arrival of the rogue star Bellis. So what happens when humanity has to evacuate paradise? That is the appeal, to me, of viewing When Worlds Collide. In that uber-idealized post-war 50s American Arcadia, how do they respond to the incoming rogue star Bellis? That's what this film exists for, and I really appreciate it for that. The thickness of this film's colour is especially very satiating. And I'm very fond of the destruction sequences during the approximately halfway point of the film. Its entire narrative is good at quenching one's, inevitable intuitive queries, It's one of these films where you are consistently curious as to how its characters will respond to their circumstances, in this case, the titular apocalyptic catastrophe. What will they do? How do they survive? It's fun stuff, yes. Some of the melodrama you may find annoying. There's some nonsense love triangle which is worth ignoring. But aside from this, I think it would be very easy to find some enjoyment out of When Worlds Collide. I'll gladly give this one an endorsement. One of the better American sci-fi films of the 1950s, maybe even one of the best.